It's a new chapter for the next generation of players in search of their NBA dreams. This draft, however, is anything but ordinary. Seasons cut short, no NCAA tournament or NBA Summer League, not even pickup games in most places. And with opening night fast approaching and less time to prepare, this class of rookies will be challenged more than ever before. But they are ready. Like so many organizations fighting their way through the pandemic, we're trying to adapt to a new normal. At the same time, we recognize that virtually every decision comes with enormous uncertainty. By opening our season on Christmas week, we not only hope to find a way to operate safely and responsibly, but to inspire resilience and optimism in others who are also struggling through these difficult times. And while tonight we welcome the best of the best from around the world, we also celebrate a game whose universal values have been passed down from generation to generation. Values like respect, equality, tolerance, and fairness. That's why basketball is a game for everyone, and one whose values we can all share. So let's get started with this terrific group of young men who are moments away from hearing their names called. The first pick in the 2020 NBA Draft belongs to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have 5 minutes to make their selection.
The Timberwolves are on the clock. Minnesota with Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell as cornerstones there and trying to sort of re-energize a franchise that has really struggled in recent years. And the question is exactly how will they go about that? The franchise was established in 1989. The biggest star in Timberwolves history, easily the big ticket, Kevin Garnett, the fifth pick taken in the 1995 draft. He is the franchise leader in basically every statistical category. Under the great Flip Saunders, they went to the playoffs 8 straight times in 2004. They reached the Western Conference Finals. Kevin Garnett was the MVP. But since 2007, it's been a really tough time for the Timberwolves. They have the lowest winning percentage in the NBA, but now at the first pick, will they keep that for themselves and add someone to go with Towns and Russell, or will they trade it? Reese Davis, alongside Jay Williams, Jay Billis, Mike Schmidt, Adrian Wojnarowski will have all of the news for us throughout the night. Malika Andrews will be talking to the players as they are selected. Bobby Marks, from a front office perspective, will give us some insight there as well. So Minnesota on the clock right now. Woj told us earlier in our draft preview show that they're taking calls right up until the moment that they have to announce their pick. You're sitting in their shoes. How would you approach this? What would you do?
Well, first, if you're going to use the pick, you take the best player. I'm not sure that at the number one spot, you're worried too much about fit. I think you're worried about the best player available. And this year, the top 3 players we're looking at are all different. They're really different. And I think reasonable basketball minds can differ on, is LaMelo Ball the right choice or Anthony Edwards the right choice? You know, those are close calls to make. But if you are going to wait, if they are fielding offers right now and you're not sold on the top pick, you're not sold on your guy, trading down and getting multiple assets is not a bad thing in this draft, because you can get a couple of starters here that could wind up turning into all-stars if you're not sure that the guy you're taking at the top is going to be a franchise caliber player for you.
And I think it's safe to assess this class and say there's no LeBron James in this class. There's no one guy that can just carry a franchise to a championship pretty much on his own back, right?
That you're sure of.
That you're sure of as of right now. I think there's a lot of pieces in this draft. So if you're Minnesota, if you are taking a lot of calls up to the last wire, I think that's a smart move. But Jay, I would kind of slightly differ with you. I don't know if taking a LaMelo Ball with having a D'Angelo Russell who needs to be on the ball and handle the ball to that extent would be the best move for them. You know, James Wiseman has already said he didn't come out and say this, but he hasn't taken a workout with Minnesota. Not sure about how he thinks the fit would be with the Karl Anthony Towns. I think Anthony Edwards is the right selection here if they do not decide to trade it. The question just becomes that youth. You know, if you can trade it and get a veteran around Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, that can help them with the 5-year trajectory of this team.
And Edwards would give them an infusion of athleticism that they really don't have. If you look at D'Angelo Russell, more of a cerebral, skill-based guy. Karl Anthony Towns is the same way, whereas, I mean, we've seen Anthony Edwards. He's a freight train to the rim when he wants to be 230 pounds. He'll put you on a poster, and he can go get a bucket at will. So I do think basketball-wise, it would make a lot of sense drafting Anthony Edwards. I would still go with LaMelo Ball. It's a multi-guard league right now. Sure. Multiple ball handlers. Teams want guys who can dribble, pass, and shoot, and I'll take the 6'7" guy who can make everyone around him better. But still, I get the fit with Anthony Edwards.
You see the key players the Timberwolves have, hoping that D'Angelo Russell will live up to his draft position from a few years ago when he was taken second overall. Anything in terms of any of these guys that particularly worry you? And a lot of times teams are afraid to go number one because they don't want that big bust like we've seen teams have.
Yeah, I wouldn't say worry, but there are concerns. I mean, with Edwards, he's not the most focused defender. His shot selection is questionable. And there is a thing about is he going to do what it takes to be great? LaMelo Ball doesn't shoot it great. He's not a great. Actually, Lonzo's a better shooter coming out of college, or coming into the draft, I should say, than LaMelo is right now. And he also doesn't guard anybody. Now that may change in the future, but right now that's sort of who he is.
Got about 30 seconds left on the clock right now. Woj told us a little while ago that they were going to field calls right up until the very end. Remember, Minnesota's got 3 of the top 33 picks in this draft right now, so they have some assets to play with right now.
Yeah, 117-33. Also, Malik Beasley, he's a restricted free agent too, so that can play a little bit of a factor when you think about Anthony Edwards.
And just drafted Jarrett Culver.
Exactly.
As well.
So we've got just seconds to go now, winding down, and still the pick is not in, which leads you to believe that perhaps the Timberwolves are entertaining everything and anything that people are sending their way. Do they have the right cornerstones, Jay Will, in terms of can they build a big-time winner with Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell as the cornerstones of the franchise?
Look, I mean, if you want to keep Karl Anthony Towns in Minnesota, you need to start putting the right pieces around him to start winning these type of games. It's been a challenging year for Karl Anthony Towns all the way around. My condolences to him losing his mother this year due to COVID. It's been incredibly difficult for him. But I do like the core, especially if D'Lo continues to progress in the way he's progressing, right? When he came from Brooklyn, he was an all-star, made the all-star team, was playing at a very high level. I love that combo. You just need the right pieces around those two to make it work.
And that's where I think Edwards can help, just giving you that scoring punch. But like Jay said earlier, all these guys at the top have major question marks. So, I mean, James Wiseman, LaMelo Ball, all of them, Anthony Edwards, they all have major questions.
So the first pick, the 2020 NBA draft, is in. The Minnesota Timberwolves have made a selection, and there is the commissioner, Adam Silver, on his way to the podium.
With the first pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Anthony Edwards from the University of Georgia.
So Anthony Edwards with his mother and grandmother with him there in spirit. He knows which hat he can take out of that big box now, and it is the one that belongs to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
What a powerful story. And Anthony, with those 2 women that are behind you literally and figuratively in mind, with their legacies in mind, you've said that being the number 1 pick would be exceptionally cool. Here we are. How does it feel?
I mean, it's an undescribable feeling. I mean, I can't even describe it. My family is emotional. I feel like when I get over here, I'm going to get emotional, and I'm just blessed beyond measures to be in this situation.
And you said that your mother and grandmother have built you to be who you are, and you wouldn't be who you are today without them. How are you honoring their legacy today?
As you can see, my grandmother's right here, and my mother's right here. And the shirt that with the collaboration I had, I got my grandmother's name and my mother's name in my shirt, so they're with me at all times.
Absolutely. This is a really special day for your family. We are wishing you all the best. Congratulations. I know this looks different, but happy number 1 pick. Reese, back to you.
Malika, Anthony, thank you very much. And Jay, you mentioned it, just elite athleticism.
Well, he's very gifted with natural ability. His body balance, his power, his strength. his ability to attack the basket. When he decides to go to the rim, nobody is going to get in his way. He's going to go through somebody or over him. The problem is he didn't go to the rim as much as he should have. He didn't shoot as many free throws. But a three-level scorer, meaning he's got really deep range from three. He can put the ball on the deck and get to the rim, and he's got a good middle game. He can pull up. He's got a good step-back move. Offensively, he can really score. He just wasn't as efficient because he settled for a lot of three-point shots, a number of them contested. He's got the ability to be an outstanding defender. He's got a 6'9" wingspan, and with that crazy athleticism, his ability to get off the floor, just really a fantastic talent. The question is how serious is he going to be about being great? That's really the question about him, because he's got all the tools to be great.
Jay, we were at that game in Maui against Michigan State. I mean, he looked like an NBA All-Star. 33 points in the second half, 37 points on the game, and every move he makes is an NBA caliber move. Step backs, his footwork is ridiculous, and he moves a little bit like James Harden, just in terms of the size, the physicality, the shiftiness. I think he can have a Donovan Mitchell type of impact in the NBA, a guy you can give the ball and say, hey, go get us a bucket, go play some pick and roll, go make something happen. Now, he needs to buy in defensively. He needs to take better shots, but the talent is certainly there.
I mean, the talent, there's no doubt the talent is there. He goes into the West, which is one of the most challenging conferences to play in. But ultimately, I like the young core of this team. I guess the next question for them moving forward is, who are the veteran presences that you're keeping around them to make sure that this team continues to grow in the right direction? I think that's important when you have guys like Cat, D'Angelo Russell, and now Anthony Edwards.
Now, Anthony Edwards added to the Minnesota puzzle for the time being.
NBA draft. The Golden State Warriors select James Wiseman from the University of Memphis.
James Wiseman at his home in Nashville, Tennessee, played just a few games for Memphis this past season, but he goes second overall to Golden State. A big, versatile guy. He has his virtual moment with the commissioner, and he has his Golden State Warriors hat at the ready to go. He was the #1 recruit last year in 2019. Played for Penny Hardaway in high school and in college. Played 3 games at Memphis before withdrawing for the NBA draft. And you see that he was a force, and he was prepared. He had people talking in the preseason last year with Wiseman and Precious Achiuwa both being at Memphis that perhaps they would run it all the way to the Final Four. It didn't unfold that way, as Wiseman had a long and winding road. He credits Penny Hardaway for making him into the player he is.
Me and Penny Hardaway, we met really in my junior year. He told me just how to approach the game, how to study film every day. He taught me about the game of basketball, how to think the game, and just like how to be in the game and how to be in the moment. He would tell me a lot of stories about Shaq, just like how he ran the floor for his size, and really just me and him studying film about Shaq. If we mess up on a play or something, or like if I mess up or make a mistake, he'd be like, man, what you doing? You need to get back on defense. Or he'd be like, man, you messing up. Like, you really just messed up that play right there. Man, we gotta make this perfect. And then he'd just give me a death stare, like, then I'd be like, oh man, suicide, so gotta get on the line. You have a coach that already played in the NBA, and him knowing like how the NBA plays, it helped out my game a lot, and it really impacted my game in a positive effect.
Here is Wiseman's reaction to being selected second overall. Man, you never get tired, you never cease to be amazed by the emotion and the gravity of the moment when they know it's coming, and yet still when the moment happens, it hits really deep. He's just a tremendous thing.
Yeah, he is a complete package as a big guy. 7'1" with a 7'6" wingspan, incredibly mobile for his size, and he can finish at the rim. He's got really good feet, and you can see that little turnaround jumper. He can score in the post. He can step away, knock down a 17-foot jumper, but I think he can also stretch that out to NBA three-point range. He can block shots. He is a big-time rebounder and a lob threat as well. The question is going to be, has the game changed so much that a big guy like this, who I liken to a bigger Chris Bosh when he came out of Georgia Tech in 2003, I don't think the game's passed by great big guys, and I think James Wiseman has a chance in this league to be a great big man.
James Wiseman going second overall to Golden State, and the newest Warrior is with Malika.
Thanks, Reese. James, Congratulations. After everything that you've been through, both personally and collegiately this year, what does it mean? How does it feel to finally call yourself an NBA player?
I mean, all praises be to God first, but just me going through this adversity made me stronger as a person, and I'm truly ready just to go to Golden State and just to go and just learn as much as possible and just be the best version of me and just work every day.
How have those rigors prepared you for what you were going to face in this league?
It's been great adversity, just having God on my side, just leading me throughout the way, having Coach P on my side, my family on my side, and really just building my mental toughness and just creating that chip on my shoulder to where I just stay humble but just work hard every day and just leave all the praise to God.
And because of the pandemic, James, you haven't played organized basketball in over a year. What, for those who haven't seen you play, what do you bring to this Golden State team?
Just versatility, be able to rebound, run the floor, block shots, and just space the floor out for my size. And I've been playing like a lot of pickup games and stuff this summer, and like I just been really just improving my game every day. So I'm ready and I'm prepared.
Congratulations, James. Reese.
Overall to Charlotte. Hey, look, this is LaMelo's night, but Lonzo still has bragging rights because he went second overall in 2017. And if you know the competitive spirit of the Ball brothers, I would say that after Lonzo gives him his time in the sun, probably won't let him forget that anytime soon. This Ball family, someone that basketball fans have become quite familiar with. Both parents played basketball in college. Lonzo and LiAngelo, both professional players as well. It has been a long and winding road for LaMelo to get to the NBA.
In ninth grade, I was Chino Hills, 135-0. After that, Chino Hills again, sophomore year. And then left junior year, went to Lithuania. Came back, and Pops created a league, did that in the States, and then had an all-star team, and then went overseas again, all overseas, and then Cleveland, went from there, and then Australia.
Well, LaMelo's superpower is his playmaking. I think he's going to be one of the best passers in the entire NBA from day one. He can do it from all different angles, behind the back, plays with a ton of flair, but he's really smooth with the ball in his hand. He has the ball on a string. He can change speeds. He can change directions. He's really, really shifty, much shiftier than his brother Lonzo. And there he is getting out in transition, showing the size there, every bit of 6'7". Not the most consistent perimeter shooter, shot around 25% from three this past season. Needs to tighten up his mechanics, but he's a shot maker. He's not afraid of the big moment. He can shoot it off the bounce. He can shoot it off the